I find it actually baffling that the number of people that are, out there. You use a great, what do you call them? The WANTrepreneur?
Entrepreneurs, yeah.
Yeah, the WANTrepreneurs. Like, it used to be that you would go to LA to become a movie star. Now you go to San Francisco to become an entrepreneur, or you go to Portland, or you go to Seattle, or you go anywhere, really, and entrepreneurism is like a thing. Mm-hmm. And what I think is interesting is how many people are really deluded into thinking that somehow it happens like that. Right. Like that there's no big price to pay, that this isn't like a relentless pursuit over time that you have to go through in order to get to where you want to be. What do you see? Like what's the difference for you? I mean, you've been probably one of the most hardworking, dynamic individuals who's committed to that personal, professional development as anyone I've ever seen. Like what would you attribute that to?
I think a lot of it has to do with seeing people and understanding that I had to evolve to that level, right? I knew that I couldn't compare myself where I was in my personal development right now with where I wanted to be. And so I knew that there was going to be this journey, that there was going to be this constant dedication that you had to go through in order to get somewhere, right? You don't go to college and then get your degree in 2 months. Like, it's a process of years of time to get into this space where all of a sudden you hit that next level. And I think that enjoying that part of the journey is what I've seen that people kind of miss. They want it, yesterday.
Yeah, the deferred penalty. I mean, where you are right now has nothing to do with what you did yesterday or the day before that, or even the day, like 3 weeks ago or a month ago. Like it's years.
Right.
It is tireless. It is being in the grind and starving and fighting and facing all the doubters head on, right? I mean, and this recurring theme, but I just think like way too many people think, oh, it's gonna wake up and boom, I'm gonna be Jay-Z. Like I'm gonna be, like in a G6, and it doesn't happen that way. It doesn't happen that way. I mean, for anybody.
No, and I think because of that, instant gratification and that desire to just get there, there's not enough people with the patience or the plan, or maybe even just the vision to get where they want to go. And that's something that you and I spent some time talking about is, what are you willing to give up for your dreams? What are you willing to throw yourself into the fire in order to get there? How long does it take you? And can you even put a end date to that journey, right? Isn't it a constant evolution of where you need to be day to day to be malleable in the marketplace, to be willing to go to work on yourself? And I think that most entrepreneurs have this self journey that they know they need to go through in order to get to wherever they want to be.
I think a lot of people don't see that. They don't see that you get there before the sun comes up, and that you sacrifice sleep, and you make choices so that, at the end of the day, I get to be with my family. At the end of the day, I get to, have all this hustle done, all this work done, and that's the end result. That's the game that you get. Yeah. The unspectacular work that goes into being successful is underappreciated. Yeah. It's grossly underappreciated by the vast majority of people that are WANTrepreneurs, right? The fakers, the guys that aren't really, they're not really, they'll never make it. They not because they can't, not because they don't have the talent, but because they are unwilling to pay the price that's necessary, and they're unwilling to have the patience.
I think that's that whole Tony Dorsett, it takes a lot of unspectacular preparation to get spectacular results. And I think, a lot of times people just see the finished product. They see you on stage, they see you giving a presentation, they hear the great advice, but they don't see the 4 a.m., waking up, getting to the gym, so, fresh in body, fresh in mind. They don't see you, busting it out.
Sometimes not so fresh.
Sometimes so fresh and sometimes not. Sometimes super fresh,
I'm a work
super
in progress.
clean.
I'm a work in progress.
Yeah, but I think all of those things are a product of getting you to where you need to be. So it starts off as, people just seeing what they want as that, I wouldn't even say a finished result. You probably would say the same thing, not a finished result. Where you are now is not where you're going to be in 6 months or 6 years. But all of this work, they just see one piece of it.
Yeah, man, on a scale of 1 to 10, if you ask me where I am right now in terms of my journey, I'm a 3. Like, I don't know that I've ever gotten past a 3. I think when there was a time where I thought a 10 would look like this, and oddly I've arrived and I'm a 3. Like rather than be demoralized by it, I'm excited about what the potential upside is, and I guess that's why I pay the price every day, for that deferred reward.
So the question is, how do you communicate that to somebody, what that hard work, that expectation around the sacrifice to get to where you want to be? Like, how do you vision cast that out?
For the individual, I think that some of that, right, you have to have a vision for yourself. You have to have an understanding. I think that, what's great to have a coach, right, to have other people around you. Well, I think what's amazing, there's 2 types of entrepreneurs, right? There are those that are visionary, that go out there and they charge their own way, right? And they do it by themselves. It's the individual who runs a super marathon alone. They train alone, they go it alone, and they get to this end result and they cross the finish line. And then there's other entrepreneurs that look for a group of individuals. They look for partnerships. They look for organizations that allow them to be in business for themselves but not by themselves. And by having that partnership, there's this like esprit de corps, like there's this group mentality, this mindset. So, but it starts with that vision of being able to, of what you want to achieve. And then I think putting the plan in place becomes really important, right? Having the right plan and then executing against that plan. For me, it's all about routine. Right? Routine is the differentiator, because left to your own devices, human nature, we're lazy. Like by our own, at least I am. Like, left to my own devices, I'm Jabba the Hutt. Like, I'd sit on the couch eating ice cream in front of the television set. I would never go to the gym. I wouldn't do anything. And so I have to put myself into a structured environment where there is order in order to sustain myself to get the results I want, right? The definition of success is very closely related to the definition of insanity. It's a 1-word variation. It's doing the same thing over and over to get the desired result. Yeah. That's it, and that's what a routine does. It's your taskmaster. And I think a lot of people, these WANTrepreneurs that choose to go into business for themselves because they don't want a job, it's because they don't want discipline, they don't want order, and truthfully, that's gonna be their demise.